Cool. All right, Hans Temestode here with Breadman. We gotta stop calling him Breadman. We gotta call this guy a damn psychic, man. How you feeling today, man?
I'm good. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. One thing I know about you, when you write, you got this little, you don't talk a lot of shit and you don't laugh a lot, but you'll put on this little wry smile because when you know you got
Look,
it right.
listen, listen, man. Listen, this is no book. I've been wrong a bunch of times, and people let me know about it, right? But with this fight, I was right, and I said it early. I'm not gloating. I'm not saying I told you so. I just told you I seen a vision on this fight. I was very, very, very assured that he would win, and I bet on him, and I thought he would win the fight, and he did. He did a great job.
I'll tell you this, man. I gotta find a new way to pay my rent because I ain't take that bet. But I'm be moving in with you real soon.
Oh, I was telling you, man, jump on it. He was the underdog.
Yeah,
He
he
was the
was.
underdog.
He was. He definitely was. But okay. So it went 12 rounds. Not sure if you was like um not sure if you was like grading each round, but if you were, or if you just had kind of like a ballpark, what would you say were your scorecards? Like 8-4, 7-5, 9-3, 10-2, 11-1? What do you think?
Um, you could go anywhere between 7-5, 9-3, Bud.
Hmm. Okay.
If you give Bud a couple of the swing rounds, you got 9-3. If you give him the Canelo, you got about 7-5. Is in no world did Canelo win more than 5 rounds though.
What exactly, how was Crawford able to do what, you know, big guys like Berlanga and Munguia weren't able to do? A guy like Jermell Charlo, who is a great fighter in his own right, couldn't do, and was able to do what only the elite of the elite, like Floyd Mayweather and Bivol did. Like, how was Crawford able to do it, man?
Well, first of all, Bud Crawford is fearless. The moment don't get too big for him. And even though he never been in the moment before, he understands how to handle that. He understands how to handle the anxiety and all that. These guys are human beings and they feel a lot of stuff. And we on the outside, we take for granted the ones that can be consistent and not allow the butterflies and all of that kind of stuff to get the better of them. Everybody calls it everything these days mental health, but when I was a kid, it's just called having butterflies. You just you face anxiety,
Yeah.
and Bud is a guy that that don't really get to him. You know what I mean? He has that kind of, I don't know how he is outside of the ring, but inside of the ring, he has like that calm but very focused and mean demeanor. And he stays, he don't get too high, he don't get too low. And I bring that up because a lot of Canelo's opponents, they are intimidated by him. They're huffing and puffing and hyperventilating. Their anxiety is getting the better of them. They're intimidated by the reputation and the aura of Canelo Alvarez, and they letting that beat them just as much as they letting the man beat them. And the best fighters, especially the most consistent ones, they have a superior mind. You got to beat them. They're not going to allow, you know, um, a person to brainwash them into believing that they're going to lose a fight. For Bivol, for example, all the pressure that Beterbiev puts on him, it don't break him. It don't make him get all rattled and hyperventilating and falling around the ring. He stays the course. Both of the fights are just about even, but Beterbiev is a murderous puncher, and Bivol does not succumb to that. You know what I mean? He's smooth, he's boxing, he's fainting, he's still being a professional under all of that stress and threat of what Beterbiev could do to him. Well, that's how Crawford is. He has that same type of pedigree in his mind where he just understands how to overcome the moment. He don't allow the moment to be too big for him. And on top of that, he got a lot more physical advantages over Canelo, and we just focused on the weight and who punched the hardest. But Bud is the more conditioned athlete. He's longer, so he can hit Canelo from a place Canelo can't hit him from. He's more twitchier. He's more agile. His stamina is much better. He's faster. So Canelo, yes, Canelo fought at a higher weight than him, but Bud had a lot of physical advantages over Canelo. And I think we missed that and we just focused on the 168, 154 to 168 jump, and we didn't focus on the other physical advantages Bud had over him.
Um, but there is is it more to it too that because Canelo's fought guys that had physical advantages over him. I think Jamel might have been longer. Definitely was taller, maybe a
He
few.
was, he was, but Jamel's a great fighter, but he's not. He don't box on Crawford's level.
Yeah.
Jamel can punch. He got a good set of legs. You know, he's an excellent, excellent fighter. He may even be a Hall of Fame fighter for unifying the four belts at 154. But he don't box at the level that Crawford box at. Crawford box at a elite, elite, elite level. And when Canelo hit Bud with a couple of big shots, Bud just smiled it off. I think the fourth or fifth round, Canelo really started pushing. And Bud just smiled it off, touched the body a little bit, came back the next round, used his jab, put a little something on Canelo, and he snapped his punches, let Canelo know that he couldn't run up on him, and then he calmed Canelo right down. Where Jamel kind of was using his legs, he didn't really have an answer for Canelo's big, violent outbursts. Uh, Bud is, you know, he's a better boxer than Jamel. They're great fighters, but Bud is a level above him. And it shows levels show. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Like we see the tiers of fighters, and you know, right before our eyes, and you just got to just appreciate all of them. Like, and I think Jamel's a great fighter, but it's just a little bit different than Jamel. I mean, than Bud Crawford. Bud is at that. Bud at a special, like he's man, like one of the best fighters of the century.
Where
One of the best, one of the best southpaws ever. Um, if you start naming great fighters and you between 35, 47, shit, now even 54, you like, I don't know if that guy could beat Bud. That's how good he is. Like he's a special fighter.
is
He's
there
up there. He's up there with all of the best guys I've seen in my lifetime. He's up there.
is
I'm saying he's better or worse, but he's I
and
want to jump the gun and say certain things and then be wrong, and and I want to let him live in this moment. I don't want to compare him to anybody, but I always said the best fighters I've seen in my lifetime is Ray Leonard, then probably Roy Jones, Whitaker, and Mayweather. Bud he's getting to that point where he can sit with them. Not maybe not be better, but he can kind of sit at their table and have a meal, be
it
comfortable.
says a
You know
lot.
what I mean?
That says
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah, he a bad boy, man. He a bad boy.
But we're obviously never gonna get this fight, unfortunately. Just two different generations. And I'm not necessarily asking you who would win, but if Floyd and Crawford were to cross paths prime for prime, would you just put that as yeah, that's 50-50, man. I don't know. Or are you just like, I might still give the edge to Floyd?
Man, I don't really want to compare him right now, Hans, if we seeing everything that's going on with Floyd and Roy. You
Mm,
know what I mean? And
yeah.
and they competitive guys. Next thing you know, Bud and Floyd to be mad at each other, man, and wanting to fight because people is like putting them against each other. Let's just enjoy the moment. I don't know. It's a close fight. It's things Floyd do better. It's things that Bud do better. But I'd rather not say because I'm not going to just lie and just say nothing like and make up something just to. I, I got my opinion on how the fights would go, and but I don't. I think we should just let the man enjoy his great moment. He's a great fighter. And I see a lot of immature stuff, and I don't like the way things is going with Floyd and Roy. They two guys that a lot of the younger guys look up to, and they taking shots at each other in the media because of the who's better and all that kind of stuff. So, I just want to see Bud enjoy his moment. And unfortunately, they didn't fight. They could have they kind of two different eras though. Even though they was fighting at the same time, Floyd kind of was doing his different thing over there with PBC, and Buzz a lot young, about 10 years younger than him. So it didn't happen, and we got to just live with it. You know what I mean?
So let's shift course a little bit. How did Canelo look? What were some good things he was doing, and okay, so yeah, so what? How do you think Canelo looked? How do you think he did in the fight? Some good things you think he did, and what do you think could possibly be next for him?
I think he did good. I just think now at this stage in his career, they got to be careful how they match him.
Mm,
We dismissed all those guys going the distance with him. He don't have the closing gear that he used to have. You know what I mean? And when you start going on the other side of your prime, all of your flaws they become more accentuated. They become a little bit bigger. And Canelo's never had the greatest stamina in the world, but now as he's getting a little bit older, you see it a little bit more. And that's why he hasn't scored a stoppage since 2021 because he don't have the closing gear no more. That's just why. He's not letting guys go the distance with him. He can't get him out of there when they moving and stuff. So now they got to just be careful how they matching. That's the honest to God truth. They got to match him with a certain type of person at a certain, that fights a certain kind of way. It might sound weird and crazy because he might take some punishment, but the kind of guy he should fight is that Mbili guy. That
mm.
guy's going to be bringing it, and you don't got to look for him. And Canelo know enough, and he's slick enough, and he got enough of a chin and punch variety to run that guy into some brutal shots. You know what I mean? That would be a great fight. But a guy that's going to keep him on the outside and move around and make him pick up his feet is going to be. He's done it in the past because his victory over Lara was a really good victory for him. But that would be tough now. You know what I mean? So they got to be careful how they matching.
So I mean, the Benavidez ship should be like, sailed away at this point. But Benavidez, of course,
Benavidez hurt Canelo right now, bro.
mm,
There's a reason why he didn't take that fight. He hurt him right now, and
mm.
I know people don't want to admit that, but there's a reason why he didn't fight. I'm just telling you, he would hurt him now.
Is it
Just would.
is it too crazy to say to think about? I mean, it's you got to let Crawford enjoy his victory, but he did say, I don't know, turning 38 in 2 weeks, I might decide to keep fighting a little bit. Is it too crazy to be like, maybe he could go up to 75, fight a guy like Bivol? Bivol not the biggest guy in the world, is that too crazy?
But what? Um, I think that we got to be fair with him. I don't beating Bivol. If Bud could beat Bivol, he's the best fighter in the history of boxing.
Mm,
You
mm.
know what I mean? Like that's I don't I don't want to use the word fair because there's no such thing as fair in boxing, and you do get paid. But at a certain point, it's like you know
So
what I mean. I think it's just asking too much. I
so
don't know if he can fight the ball. Like, god damn,
you
you're
think
talking about a dude that's boxing, moving, bouncing in and out, strong, condition. He got all the things that Bud got, but he's a natural 75 pounder with pedigree. Eh, like, can you that ain't the same as fighting Canelo, bro. Like that's a different fight. I just don't know if that's possible. I'm not gonna tell the man or say what he can and can't do, but that's a reach. I think maybe Benavidez, if Benavidez came to 68, maybe they could entice Bud, but that's a reach. That's a hard ass fight. I don't know if Benavidez can make 68 anymore though. I know he's at 75 and 68 was a struggle for him. But if he was to make it, that would be maybe they could do that. But I don't know. I don't know who's there for Bud to fight at this moment. To be honest with you, I kind of think that his opponents is kind of drying up.
would
If he
you
was to fight at 160, it would just be to grab a belt.
yeah.
But none of the guys over there are marketable. The most marketable opponent for Bud right now is Hamza Sharice.
Mm, he's
Yeah,
he's
that's
a
the most marketable opponent for Bud.
yeah.
I can see that. I can see that fight maybe happening.
You think so? He's a tall 6'4" dude.
I know, but I mean, like, he's an ambassador with Turkey. The UK follows their fighters. He just had a huge knockout. I'm just trying to think on the business side. Like, if Bud fight Canelo again, he gonna hurt him. You know what
Mm.
I mean? Now that he got him figured out, he gonna hurt him if he fight him again. I don't know if they want to put Canelo in there with him again. And I was like searching for opponents. Benavidez might be a little bit big. He might be a little big. Uh, he's gonna move up and fight, but Turbiev and Bivol, like Jesus God, like do you? I don't that's I don't know if that's possible. And then but you got Hamza Shariz. Hamza Shariz had a draw at 160 with a Dames. Dames is a solid fighter, but Bud's better than him. And Bud in his mind might say, you know what? I could beat Sharice. It's things I could do to him. Amo Williams has some moments. Adames has some moments. He might take that challenge. I don't know.
But
But that's probably the most marketable person that I could see him fighting right now.
but would that really put yourself in Crawford's shoes? Is that a fight? No disrespect to Shiraz, definitely a really good fighter, but I just don't think that really gets Crawford up out of bed. Like, like I don't know if that gets him out of bed. What do you think?
And listen, who else is there to fight? I don't want to bring up the Boots. They're too far away, too far in age. They too far in everything. Like, Boots haven't won the title 154 yet. I don't believe he would move to 68. Bud's certainly not going to come to him. Bud's the A side. So I'm just guessing, like, who else is there for the man to fight? He may retire. I don't know. I don't know no other marketable opponents off the top of my head that the public will buy and to fight him, because this is a business now. This guy, you know what I mean? He's going to be, I'm supposing, like, his minimums are going to be huge.
Hmm.
So to fight him, like, who who does he fight? I don't know. Maybe you could tell me. I haven't, like, I feel like the Tiafimo kind of guys. I remember Tiafimo was calling him out. I think they too far apart in weight.
Yeah.
So I don't know who we could fight. I just don't.
Well,
I'm thinking off the top of my head,
you did
can't think of anybody.
you did bring up David Benavidez. If David Benavidez moved back down to 68, is that a guy that you would be like, oh, okay, now that's 50-50, or are you still taking Bud in that one?
Um, I gotta see which weight the fight would be at. If Bud was to move up to 75, I would take Benavidez.
Mm.
At 68, I don't know if Benavidez can make the weight. But at a certain point, you can't, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. God damn, man. I don't want to pick against Bud against anybody, but you asking me 75 pounders. That's a lot for a dude that just see. I don't want to say anything bad about Canelo to make it seem like that he's not a great fighter. He is, but Canelo, like, is he don't keep the work rate that them guys don't do. He's small. Longer, he's faster, he's younger, he's in more condition, he's throwing punches. That ain't the same as fighting Canelo, bro. You know what I mean? I know Canelo's a legend in the Hall of Famer. That's a different fight. It's a totally different fight. I don't know if Bud can overcome that. And I don't think that he should have to be honest with you. Like, that would be a hell of a jump. Like, if Bud starts beating up Bivol and Benavidez and stuff, like, I'm I I couldn't imagine. He's the best fighter in the history of boxing if he can do that.
But
And I'm not saying he can't. He's special, but I, I, I don't know if anybody ever from lightweight could beat a light heavyweight that good. Like, I don't think there's a lightweight in history that could beat David Benavidez or Dimitri Bivol. I just don't. Not even Floyd Mayweather. Not Roberto Duran. No, I don't believe that. So I don't know. I just want to just let's just stay on this one because it's hard for me to wrap my brain around a lightweight being able to beat Dimitri Bivol. But we got to see. They say Bud is crazy, so he might be the kind of guy that'll say, you know what? They don't think I can do that. I'll go ahead and do it. I don't know. They say he's crazy and he's crazy competitive. But right now, he's definitely special, man, and one of the best fighters I've ever seen. Him and Inoue and Usyk, they're having a great battle for the fight of the decade. Um, One of the best southpaws I've ever seen, best switch hitters I've ever seen, best clutch performers I ever seen, um, best big game performance. I mean, his performances against Spence and Canelo has been just ridiculous,
Hmm.
ridiculous level
Yeah.
of greatness. I don't know what else I could say. I mean, I'm not shocked because I picked him to win, but definitely impressed. I'm very impressed.
You said that because Canelo after the fight, he was just like, if a rematch happens, I'm down for it. But you did also say that if a rematch happens, Canelo would get really hurt by Bud. Is,
Say hi to my son, man. He out here playing ball
yo,
in the interview. Oh, would you say that one more time, man? I'm sorry.
nah, it's all good. I was saying that you said in a rematch with Canelo, Bud would really hurt him. Do you think that Canelo would get stopped by Bud in a rematch?
I don't know because Canelo got one of the best chins I've ever seen. His chin is on the lines of that Hagler James Tony chin, like Triple G. He got a chin. But those punches start getting to him late in that fight. Look at his body reaction. They started getting to him. Bud got a way of snapping his punches at the end of them. They compact, and as the fight goes on, they start wearing you down. And I don't know if he was stopping, but I think that will be the question of in the rematch, can Bud stop him? I think that Canelo will have a serious chance of getting stopped in that fight.
Just last two questions before I let you go real quick, man. With Crawford, do you kind of look at him and do you just kind of say, I know you said it's really hard to like wrap your brain around like just the overall fighter that he is. You know, I feel like I know my boxing really well. You know boxing like every time I talk to you, I learn something new. Like, is there anybody in history you could like kind of tell us, be like, yo, guys, this is who Crawford like kind of reminds me of. Is there anybody like that in history for him?
Um, his style is very unique. His style is kind of a mixture of, I would say, Mayweather, Whitaker, and Mike McCallum. That's his style.
Damn.
What what he does and what he means to his era kind of got like a lot of Ezra Charles in him.
Mm.
Whereas Ray Robinson was the pound for pound twitchy guy, and you could see it. You know what I mean? You could see it where Ezra Charles was like more sublime with his skill set. You know, one of the reasons why Bud caught on so late, I know it's the promotion and not getting certain fights, but it's also he don't jump out at you. When you watch a video of Prom Roy Jones, you see that athleticism and that one punch power and that speed. When you watch with a video of Prom Pernell Whitaker, you see that built-in radar where that you just can't hit him. Like his defensive reflexes are just so good. You just like, oh my God, that's a gift from God. When you watch Floyd Mayweather, you see a certain level of neatness and athleticism and defensive reflexes where you can't hit him with combinations and hit him with the same punch more than once. When you watch Ray Leonard, you see a showmanship and a hand speed and a pedigree. Bud might not be as like his gifts are not as eye popping as theirs are. His gifts aren't. I'm not saying he's not as good as a fighter, but his gifts aren't. And I think that that's how Ezra Charles is because he comes up in the 40s and you got Ray Robinson, who's the GOAT. You got Joe Louis with his freakish punching power. You got Willie Pep with his great footwork and his pizzazz. And then you got Ezra Charles, and he's just, smooth, sublime, right hand, left hook, jab, footwork, and he's just as good as all of them. So maybe Bud might be Ezra Charles of like, as far as the greats. He might be a little bit underappreciated because his abilities don't jump out to your eyes the way theirs do. Like, his eyeball test is not as high as a Roy Jones or Ray Leonard's.
I can respect that one. And just my last question after the fight, they asked Crawford about like Canelo's punching power, and he was just like he ain't really hit that hard. He said that like Mean Machine hit him harder. Like was that surprising for you to hear? Did you kind of expect Canelo was just like,
You know what, man? I'm gonna tell you something.
mm,
When fighters say stuff like that, I don't really think about it because fighters' minds are just different. They say things in a different way. You know what I mean? Like Floyd, you ask Floyd, he'll talk about Emmanuel Augustus being his like, toughest opponent. You know what I mean? And we know that Floyd fought better guys than Emmanuel Augustus, but that's the way his mind sees it. You know what I'm saying? So with Bud, I don't I wasn't hit by Canelo or a Mean Machine, so that's his opinion. I can't challenge that, but fighters see things differently. So you just got to just respect the way he see it and the way he say it. You know what I mean? I don't really have a comment or an opinion about that because that's how he sees it. Outside of it, it looks like Canelo punches harder than Mean Machine. I think Canelo's a better fighter, but I'm not going to challenge Bud's, you know, um, viewpoint of that. That's how he sees it. He sees it in a different kind of way.
was it at least surprising? This is my last one before I let you go. Was it at least surprising to see that he took every shot well? Like he didn't buckle at all. He stood right there.
No, that wasn't surprising. That
Mm,
wasn't surprising to me. I got a lot of arguments, where people would say, how you gonna pick Bud when he got hurt by Gamboa at 120? That's a blown up 126. And I'm like, man, you guys don't understand boxing. That's not how it works.
yeah.
Bud might have took more chances against Gamboa,
Mm,
right? Bud might have got hit with something but with Gamboa that he don't have time to see. You can't see it. You can't brace for it. So nobody's questioning if Gamboa punches harder than Canelo. But Gamboa's reflexes may allow him to hit Bud with something that Canelo's reflexes don't.
mm,
You understand what I'm saying? So you can see the punches that Canelo's throwing. One reason why I picked Bud is because Canelo haven't scored the stoppage in 4 years. That's a big deal. So I wasn't surprised that he could take the punches because Canelo haven't scored a stoppage in 4 years. And I think that Bud is better than the people that Canelo's been fighting. And I also didn't believe Canelo would hit Bud with stuff he don't see. I think Bud is a really hard puncher, but he ain't the hardest puncher I've seen. Bud hits you with shit you don't see and you can't brace for.
yeah.
That's 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 worse than the dude that's being like this freakish puncher, but you get to see it and you get to tense your body up and prepare for the blow. It was a left hand he hit Canelo with in that fight. Canelo was opening up with a big shot, and Bud just boom. He just extended his arm right in Canelo's face. Bro, those shots are jolting. That's the similar shot that he hit Kell Brook with, and everybody was like, man, he barely touched him. Bro, that's a brutal shot to get hit with. That's a brutal shot. It's right in the middle of your thought process and you punching, and boom, you get your shit snapped like that, man. That's devastating. Canelo just got a great chin. But no, I'm not surprised that he could take the punches. Because I've James Toney, I seen his whole career. James Toney got arguably the best chin I ever seen. And what's weird is, you probably never seen James Toney get knocked down, have you? James Toney take anything.
Yeah, nah, yeah, never have.
You know why? Because he got knocked down early in his career by a dude named Reggie Johnson at middleweight. And you
Mm,
probably wasn't watching me back then. 91, 92, he got dropped. Look at the fight on YouTube, right? Reggie Johnson. So James Toney fights 68 and 75 and cruiserweights and heavyweights. And he stands up mostly. I think Samuel Peter may have dropped him, but he stands up to all those big punches. Reggie Johnson, who's a solid puncher middleweight, but not like a devastating puncher, drops him.
Roy Jones
You know
dropped.
why he dropped? Yes, Roy Jones dropped. That was more of a balance shot.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know why he dropped him? Because James Toney didn't see the shot. That's why he dropped. So I was impressed by Bud's chin, but if I thought that Canelo could hurt him and knock him out, yeah, I mean, if I thought Canelo would knock him out, I wouldn't have never picked him. I thought he would be okay taking the punches because I knew he would be able to see him, and that's really important.
Got it. Look, man, I appreciate you jumping on with me. Like I said earlier, I didn't take that bet, so I will be moving in. What time is it? I'll be there by tonight, man. I gotta I gotta get up out of here.
Yo, yo, the Eagles is coming on. So we watch the Eagles in my house on Sundays. So you might not be able to take that, bro. So you might want to come another day.
I'll be there
But God,
tomorrow, then, man. I'll see you
all
soon,
right.
man. My man.